Hello and welcome all you softball fans for another installment of high school softball on your sports network. Ty Bartell alongside Anthony Hartwig here at the beautiful Firestone Stadium, host of this Division I state semifinal game between the 23-3 Fairfield Indians representing the away team on the scoreboard and YSN Zone 21-1 Austintown Fitch Falcons, the defending Division I state champions.
One of two defending champions that are still alive in the state of Ohio. Strasburg Franklin, the other one.
Another powerhouse over in D4. As Sydney Watts, the unthinkable, the unbelievable, so many adjectives, so many unwords that Watts is capable of. 21-1 record this year, 121 and a third innings of work, 260 strikeouts, 25 walks, a 0.58 earned run average. She's tossed 4 no-hitters and 2 perfect games in this season. She's going to be facing this lineup from Fairfield. It's Jillian Huey. It's Ava Hensley, followed by Abby Stanfield, Maddie Miller, Carly Clark, Anna Lawson, Megan Spence, Abby Lugers, and then Adeline Huey rounds things out in the 9-hole. Defensively for the Falcons behind Watts, Toth is at first, Severn at second, Ayla Ray at short, Morgan Roby is at third. Behind the plate, it's Kylie Folkwine. Then in the outfield, it's Miana Orhe in left, Kayliana Ray in center, and Rachel Spalding in right. Well, two teams are already in the state championship for the YSN family. South Range taking care of business in that 11-4 win yesterday. And, of course, Canfield, Milena Toth dominant in the circle as she usually is. A 13-strikeout, 1-hit performance from MT. And the Canfield Cardinals advance to the state championship game with a 3-0 win earlier today against Kenton Ridge.
Trying to go 3 for 3 in the YSN family. One more to do it. But Fairfield standing in the way, and they've been hot as of late. They have won, no. Get out of here. These books are too many papers, Ty.
First pitch, a ball to Huey. Jillian Huey, a 400 hitter, 5 home runs, 26 runs batted in for the Indians. Their leadoff hitter, their senior. One of 5 seniors in today's starting 9 for the Indians. 1-0 off the top of the glove of Folkwine. 2 balls, no strikes.
10 in a row for Fairfield.
10 wins in a row. For Brenda Stiger, the coach for the Indians, 538 wins all time. She's 538 and 191, a 738 win percentage.
She's done that in 27 years as the head coach.
Strike finds the zone for Watts, 2-1 on Huey. You talk about winning almost 75% of the games you play for 25 plus years. That's
all of that, and this is your first appearance in the state since 1991.
Yeah.
So 33 years. So it's her first appearance. She's been there for 27 of them.
Trying to get the Indians some state championship gold. A swing and a miss. 2-2 the count on Jillian Huey. Huey, the senior shortstop for Fairfield.
If Fairfield did the unthinkable, they're definitely the underdogs when you talk about the 4 teams that are in state right now. But if they did the unthinkable, they'd be the 4th team in their county's history to win a state championship.
The 2-2. Up the ladder, no chase, 3-2.
From Butler County, just one county above the state line into Cincinnati and Kentucky.
3-2 the count.
They had to come a long way for this one.
Watts, a pitcher that has had her walks kicked up a notch, too, and the one she's allowed during the playoffs.
We saw that with Milena Toth, too.
Swing and a miss. Came back with a 3-2 inside fastball and got Huey to go chase it.
Yeah, well, Sydney Watts' velocity is freakishly unnormal. You know, you're going to see high 60s, topping out at 69. A lot of hitters in high school just aren't used to seeing that consistently.
You mentioned Milena Toth took her that inning where she was falling behind a couple hitters, but she never surrendered a walk to the lineup of Kenton Ridge.
It was huge because she had 10 walks in their 2 regional games.
Ava Hensley, the next batter up for Fairfield. She's batting .465, 5 home runs, and 26 runs batted in this year. Junior center fielder for the Indians. Watts, the rock off the back foot, the step to fire. It's a miss, a little high on the zone, 1-1. Falcon defense that may not get as much credit as it should. But you talk about what they've been able to do. Only 3 errors made by their defense this year, a .995 fielding percentage as a team.
Yep, and caveat, yes, Sidney Watts does have a lot of strikeouts, don't get a lot of balls put in play, but when they do, it's pretty much taken care of.
1 and 2. Compare that to Fairfield's defense, .956 fielding percentage, 32 errors. We looked at that as a point of discrepancy maybe for this game too, something that the Indians are going to have to be cautious
Here's the thing,
of.
when you have 32 errors and it's .956, that tells me that your pitcher allows a lot to be put in play.
1 and 2 the count.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Pop up, and it'll hit the net. Dead ball. 1 and 2.
Outs are outs. It doesn't matter how you get them. Strike out, ground out, fly out. They're still outs.
The thing is with this Falcon lineup, too, most strikeouts I think we've seen this year is 6 against them in one game. And Milena Toth was the one who did that. So it's a lineup that doesn't strike out often, and that is a makeup for success. Putting the ball in play, good things could happen.
That's much different than last year when Milena Toth struck them out, a combined
37 times
in 2 games.
Yeah, so you look at the other 2 times, I believe maybe 10 in the 2 games. So, and that's one point that this Falcons team has gotten stronger. They realize, too, we can't just go into next year expecting to do the same thing again. We have to get even better, and they've improved on all the necessary areas that they can. Watts has it once, screamed to short, but Ayla Ray reads it like a book for out number 2 on the lineout.
That's not just good defense by Ayla Ray. That's also perfect scouting because they had her shaded perfectly. They put Ayla Ray a little bit towards third base, and that's exactly where it was hit.
Abby Stanfield had a .443 clip, 3 home runs, 32 runs batted in.
Abby Stanfield continuing her career at Lourdes University. She'll be a college softball player.
First pitch finds the zone, and it cut back in over that outside corner. And, boy, if she's getting that kind of action and those kind of calls.
We talked with Milena Toth. She was getting the river early. And if you give her the river, especially with Toth's curveball, you're in trouble. And if Sidney Watts, the one pitch you have to really hope that she doesn't get called is that high-level rise ball. If she gets across the letters with a rise ball called for a strike, you're in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble.
Has Stanfield down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Watts looking to send Fairfield down in order to start the first.
Nice ball.
Swing and a miss. She'll do just that. Pair of strikeouts here in the first inning, and Watts sends the Indians down in order. We take our first look at the Falcon bats, bottom of the first inning when we get back.
You're here to be part of something bigger, to make things happen. For you, college is about knowledge being shared and learning experiences that aren't limited to the classroom. On campus, you want to matter. It's about engaging every day, building relationships with students, with mentors, with the community, in the heart of a reinvented city. We are that something bigger. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Big shout out to our friends 21 WFMJ for all their contributions throughout the regular season for us here at ysnlive.com. Bottom of the first inning, Ty Bartell and Anthony Hartwig with the call of this Division I state semifinal game. In the circle, it's Megan Spence for the Fairfield Indians. She has a 14-3 record this year. 115 in the third innings of work, 1.40 ERA. She struck out 141, walked 43, and has a whip of 1.08. Lineup for the Falcons, she'll be facing Kayliana Ray, followed by Ayla Ray. Abby Toth, the 3-hole hitter. Kylie Folkwine's cleanup. Sydney Watts, 5th. Morgan Roby, 6th. Lucky number 7, Sammy Severn, bats 7th. Designated player Lily Stevens, 8th. And Rachel Spalding is the 9-hole hitter today. Kayliana Ray, just a .743 batting average as a freshman. A home run, 11 runs batted in. And, by the way, 39 for 40 in stolen bases.
Spence has above average velocity. She'll come in at about the low 60s, high 50s, low 60s. Moves the ball really well, spots her pitches really well.
First pitch was a ball to Kayliana Ray. Kay Quick, as I like to call her, the left-handed hitting freshman for the Falcons. takes a called strike near the top of the zone.
Right on cue. That's a really well-placed pitch that Ray's not going to do a lot with, and it's a good pitch not to swing at when you're not down 2 strikes because there's not much to do with it. It's probably a pop-up if you swing at it. So Kayleana Ray, a very smart hitter, letting that one go with less than 2 strikes.
Outside 2-1. Put into words how impressive it is to see a freshman come onto the scene with a defending state Division I state champion team and bat .743 after the game. Takes your breath away.
It does. But then when you look at Kayleana Ray and the travel, she plays on the Outlaws, which is a premier travel team. She's a freshman, but she's not because she's played against very good softball competition for a long time, and she has Ayla Ray, her sister, to guide her every step of the way. So one of the more experienced freshmen you'll ever see step onto a varsity
3-1,
level.
a chopper hit off the first baseman Miller's glove, and Kayleana safe at first. And this was the thing we talked about, Ant, is you need to play clean defense, and that will go as an error over at first. Was right in the glove, kind of just smacked it.
Yeah, it was one of those ones, like, it's a tough play. You probably don't have a play to get back to first and beat Ray there, but it's still
wants to be nice, give him a signal.
No, it's still an error.
It's still
an error, but you made the play impossible by not being able to field it, but it would have been a really tough play because no one came over to cover first, so she would have had to field it and then run to first herself, and trying to beat Kayleana Ray to first is about as futile as I can't think of a good joke at that point. So
called strike on.
It's been a long day.
The ace of bases, Ayla Ray. She tries to put the bunt down. It goes foul back to the catcher in Clark. Spence is in the circle. Miller's at first. Adeline Huey is at second. Jillian Huey at short. Stanfield at third. Luger's in left. Hensley in center. Lawson in right. And we said Clark, of course, behind the dish today for Fairfield.
0-2, no problem. Ayla Ray is one of the best 2-strike hitters I've ever seen at the high school level.
The 0-2 pitch. Ray will foul it off to the Fairfield dugout, first base side.
She very, very rarely strikes out, if ever. It feels like she never does.
She does put the ball in the play. Both the Ray sisters do. And this has been the dynamic duo at the top with Kayleana's speed and how often she's able to reach base with her average and one of the tops in the team in walks. And then you bring in the power and the runs batted in of Ayla Ray. She'll chop that one first base side. It'll roll foul. Fair, then cuts foul.
Smart play by the first baseman to let that roll foul.
Ayla Ray's numbers this year: 457 batter, 14 home runs, 50 runs batted in for the senior.
The power has gone up, but the average has gone down a little bit.
From what we've been used to seeing her, yeah. She's taken more of her chances, I think, with that big swing early in counts and even maybe later in counts. And it's paid off, like we've seen in the runs batted in and home run department.
If I was Coach Ward, I'd say, hey, I will let your average go down about 150 points for an extra 10 home runs from you.
Yeah, and I mean also probably I would say another 20 RBI too in this season for Ray compared to last year. Right back to the pitcher, Spence. Kayleana will get to second easily. They'll take the sure out at first, one away, but the Falcons have one in scoring position. Off the fielder's choice.
That's another thing this team does really well. Just do their job. You didn't have to do anything fancy with that at bat. Move the runner over, put the ball in play. That's what Ayla Ray did. And now the Falcons have, like you said, a runner in scoring position with really good bats coming up with Abby Toth, I believe.
So many big names on this team, and I feel like Abby Toth doesn't get mentioned maybe as much as she should. 620 hitter, 3 home runs, 28 RBI, and she got her driver's license this morning. She'll belt that into the right center field gap, and she's going to drive herself into third base with an RBI triple. The Falcons are out, though, at third as Toth comes off of the third base bag. Instead of sliding, she overruns the bag. A run comes in, but there's now 2 out in the inning. 1-0 Fitch as Toth gets the RBI triple, but like you said, Ant, she overran the bag, got tagged out at third.
One great play by the third baseman. That's why you always train infielders to keep the tag on the body. But also, you got to slide there. There's no reason not to. It wasn't a terribly close play, but close enough that you have to be able to slide. And Coach Ward had to walk away from that for a little bit and compose himself because I'm sure he was not too happy that they just lost a runner on third with less than 2 outs.
Yeah, especially with the boppers that you got coming up. Ball 1-0 the count to Kylie Folkwine. She has been on some sort of tear during this playoffs.
It changes the the spectrum of this inning.
Claire shot the second, reading it into the leather that time was Adeline Huey for out number 3. Falcons do get on the scoreboard first, an RBI triple by Abby Toth, later thrown out at the third base bag. But after an inning, it is 1-0 Austintown Fitch.
There are 4 members of GoldenStringRadio.org that works for your sports network. Super Dave, Kristen, Scotty, and myself. And if you love our work at Golden String Isle and Purple Cat, you are going to love the soon-to-be open Cabot Camp out at Farmer Casey's Ranch in Coatesville Township. It has all the nice, beautiful scenery, will feature cabins, and a whole lot of other great outdoor stuff. I'm Radar Pavlov, and my sports network is your sports network.
Hi, I'm Eric Carlson, president of Joe Dickey Electric and an Eagle Scout from Troop 60 in Boardman. I'd like to invite you to join us Tuesday, June 11th at the Lake Club for our 19th annual Celebration of Scouting Breakfast. Join us to hear the scouting story and to support the organization that helped me become the leader I am today. Visit gtcbsa.org/breakfast or call 234-900-5906 to reserve your spot today at the 19th annual Celebration of Scouting Breakfast.
Hope looks different for everyone. It's a doctor who takes the time to understand. It's a listening ear when you need one most. The power of care is nothing without hope. And every service we offer is created with true healing in mind. Find your hope at Meridian.
Welcome back, everybody. Top of the second inning in the middle of the Fairfield order due up. It's 4-5-6. Maddie Miller, Carly Clark, and Leanna Lawson. Miller, 405 bat, 2 homers, and 27 runs batted in. Watts striking out a pair in that top of the first inning. She now has a lead to play with back here in the top of the second. And this has been the makeup of this Falcons team's success all season long, whether home or away. It's always get Sid that early lead, get her a little bit more comfortability to work with, and then just add on however we can throughout the game.
I mean, the reality is 1 might be enough. 3 is almost always enough.
Well, there's only been 2 times. The most runs given up, whether earned or unearned, in a game by Watts has been 5, both against Green and against North Canton Hoover, both of those coming in her freshman year.
Season. It's been 2 years since that.
Since a team has scored more than 4 runs on her. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the second most runs, I don't even know if there has been a team right off the rip off the top of my head. I don't know if there's been a team that scored 4. I think Canfield in that first time they met last year scored 3, and it was a 3-3 tie, and then a 1-1 tie in the second game.
And then a 2-1 win
But I think that 3 runs was one of the most that Sid gave up all of last year as well. And you'll talk to this Falcons staff, and they pretty much, the coaching staff will tell you, 3 runs we're feeling comfortable. If we get 4 or more, we're feeling really comfortable then.
Yeah, I mean, then you're just like, hey, don't implode. That's like,
just do your job at that point. And
that's why it was big for that runner at third to be thrown out with Abby Toth. That second running for Sydney Watts is so important.
No balls, 2 strikes. Watts has Miller down in the count. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Went fishing down low below the knees. 3rd strikeout, all swinging by Watts.
That's a brutal pitch because you're telling yourself, rise ball, see the ball down, see the ball down. Well, you saw it down, but this one dips under the zone and you chase it. It's just, there's a reason she's going D1. Like, there's a reason she's going to Tech.
The Georgia Tech commit has had another 250-plus strikeout season. She's only lost a total of, I think, 4 games in her entire high school career. Just incredible stuff you see, and another one of those big names leading the charge in Northeast Ohio softball. Strike 2, painted to Carly Clark. Carly Clark batting at .398, pair of homers and 27 runs batted in. Senior catcher for Fairfield. She's down in the count 0-2. Watts getting into a groove, firing strikes at will. Into the rock, the step, the fire, the 0-2 swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Sid.
It's a cakewalk. I mean, it's just, those 2 batters were no match. They couldn't catch up to the speed. And Sydney Watts knew it and just said, here's my velo, good luck with it.
the amount of success you'll see teams have their first time through the order if they've never faced Sid before is minuscule. And that's a big takeaway. And if you've never faced her before and the first time through the order, you really can't get any production. You got to wait till that second time through to, it feels like, get some sort of production from the offense.
I haven't seen every game that Sydney Watts has played this year. You've had the opportunity to do almost that. But I still, for some reason, that Boardman lineup knows how to get on base with her. They hit a home run off of her. They run roll Boardman. But that lineup for Boardman, just they lay off the rise ball. They do everything you have to do.
You got to be super, super disciplined. And I don't know what Mootsy's doing over there to get him prepared to try to find some success against her.
But back to that point, I think Maddie Weimer, I believe, hit that home run in her first at bat of the day. She walked two times in the game prior to that. And
swing and a miss, 2-1.
Sydney Watts got caught saying, "I'm not going to walk you this time," and threw one right down the pipe.
Leanna Lawson, a .350 bat, 2 homers, and 19 runs batted in. She has a 2-1 count on her. Nobody on, 2 down here in the top of the second. Falcons, the home team in today's contest. Swing and a miss on the rise ball, 2-2. Winner of this game will also be the home team in tomorrow's game, as they'll play the winner of Watkins Memorial and Anthony Wayne, set to do battle after this one. And that's going to be a heck of a battle for the other side of the Division I championship.
But I think it's good for Sydney Watts to give up a home run now and then, because you're going to learn that lesson really quickly, especially when you get to the next level as a rise ball pitcher.
Little jam shot. Watts will get it and apply the tag for the out. Not just a pitcher. That's an athlete coming out of that circle.
Like a cat. Ooh.
Watts has talked about this season wanting to be able to field her position at an elite level. She shows off her skill right there, jumps on it, applies the tag for out number 3. Fairfield in order. Once again, we go to the bottom of the second. Falcons leading by a run.
Today's contest.
Your grandmother's fine china, those trendy sneakers, your collection of hand-carved duck decoys. Auto Owners protects your home. Because, well, somebody should. That's simple human sense.
Ask Holloway Insurance in Columbiana and Lisbon if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Oh, now you do your job.
Bomb right now.
The bottom of the second inning. Anthony's hoping for a big-time blast. That's how we bring it back. Hey, and with Sydney Watts, if you haven't seen the home run she hit against Walsh Jesuit in that regional final, you might be able to catch it coming back into the stratosphere on its way down. I think it's just started.
Forget the home run. I'm all about the bat flip. That was the cream on the crop for me. Just whoop.
And, it was actually a point of a hotly discussed topic, too. But when we say you got talent at that level, I think you're allowed to show the skill off a little bit.
I have no problems with bat flips at all. As long as you're not doing it like towards the other dugout.
Don't do it to show up the other team. But
that wasn't it. He was looking at the pitch the whole way.
I was too focused on where that one landed.
And if you're going to be a pitcher mad about it, then don't give it up, man. As far as I'm concerned, if your pitcher's going to fist pump when they strike out, then you better be able to be bat flipped on.
Pop up on the 2-0 pitch to the third baseman, Stanfield, who puts it away for 1 out.
That is 2-0, and it was a pitch that was high and tight. Maybe a strike on the high inside corner, but not one that I would necessarily go after. 2-0, that's just little fine points that you will continue to grow in as a hitter. And when we analyze Sydney Watts' game, we really have to nitpick.
Second pop-up consecutively by Spence, forced in the circle, and You mentioned that's where she has a lot of her success as she delivers a first pitch strike to Morgan Roby. But if she can get underneath those Falcon bats, force those pop-ups, it can also be a long day for the Fitch lineup because it can also make for some quick innings for Spence in the circle.
Well, the thing that makes her really tough to go against is she's just so accurate. It's kind of like Melina Toth. Melina Toth doesn't have blow-you-away speed. She's sitting in the low to mid-60s, 65 she'll top out at, which is really good. But what makes her really, really, really good is the fact that she's just so pinpoint accurate and hits her spots so well. And Spence does the same thing. Velocity maybe in the low 60s, high 50s, top out at maybe 62. But she spots her pitches so well.
2-1 the count right now on Morgan Roby. Roby, a .485 batter at the 6-hole for Fitch.
And look,
2-2 the count
I'm
now.
saying 62 is just underwhelming. It's still way above average.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just not 69 like we see from Sydney Watts.
Roby, along with her .485 average, a home run, 16 runs batted in. Batting out of that 6-hole, she is a great contact hitter and a really good two-strike hitter as well.
For baseball people out there, 62 is probably comparable to your 90-mile-an-hour fastball from 60 feet away if you did the math. Sydney Watts' 69-70 is comparable to your high 90s 100. It's elite of the elite when they're talking.
The payoff to Roby. Pop up again. This goes third base side, stays in foul territory, and again a catch made, this time again by Stanfield.
Another really well-placed pitch above the hands. This is what Jaylee Wilt did really well in the Champion game. If you watch that one, Champion was a powerful lineup, just like Austintown Fitch was. Jaylee Wilt used her strength against their strength and said, I'll just stay above your bats that already want to elevate the ball.
Samantha Severn, .479 hitter, 4 home runs, 21 runs batted in, swings and
so one of the adjustments Fitch is going to have to make second time through is say, okay, we're going to have to get on top of the ball. Forget about elevating it. Try to ditch the home run swings. Get it in the ground, find the holes, and on top of the softball. I almost said baseball. Long day.
Severn takes that pitch outside. Samantha Severn is just another one of those players. We talked about Kaylee Ortiz. Samantha Severn's another one where when it becomes playoff time, she's made of something different, man. Ice runs through her veins, and she prepares a little bit differently than the rest of the team where they're more fun, energetic, fun-loving. She's a very stoic. I like to get my music and just focus, but all 3 batters go to the third baseman on a pop-up as Spence is working her pitches to her advantage. 3 straight pop-ups and a 1-2-3. Bottom of the second inning for Austintown Fitch. We're through 2 innings of play. Falcons leading it 1-0.
Is your backyard ready for fun in the sun? Now's the time to get to Burnett Pools for the pool, spa, hot tub, or sauna you've been wanting at the season's lowest prices. Get on our installation list now and take advantage of 0% financing for 72 months. Buy now, pay later at your summer fun headquarters. Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs.
Burnett Pools, we've got it all.
Hope looks different for everyone. It's a doctor who takes the time to understand. It's a listening ear when you need one most. The power of care is nothing without hope. And every service we offer is created with true healing in mind. Find your hope at Meridian.
It's the top of the third inning, and it's the bottom of the Fairfield order. It's Megan Spence, Abby Lugers, and Adeline Huey.
Ty, we were talking off the air about one of the things that makes Sydney Watts so tough, and I just wanted to kind of explain it. A lot of these high school hitters, especially the ones that have power, have pop, at this level, have very long swings, and you start to see that's why really good hitters with high average and high home run numbers start to struggle with Sydney Watts, because if you have a long swing, you're not going to be able to catch up to 69 miles per hour, rise ball, fastball. it's always the hitters that have the short, compact swing in high school that are going to have the success against Sydney Watts. That's what it's going to be like when she goes into college. Everyone all of a sudden knows how to put power into a short, compact swing. But that hasn't happened yet in a lot of high school level kids.
Couple of pitches, couple of misses to Megan Spence. Pitcher-pitcher matchup to lead off this top of the third. 2-0 count for the 259 batter. Home run and 12 runs batted in for the Fairfield pitcher.
And then every now and then you get a hitter that defies that logic because that Amherst home run, I watched it, very long swing, and she was way out in front of it, but it just got the foul pole, you know? You defied the rule by hitting the foul pole and left.
The 2-1. Inside, 3 balls and a strike.
Well, if the bottom of your order can work some walks and get some base runners, that is huge.
These two hitters in the lineup are both sub 300, and no discredit to them, but those aren't the hitters that you want getting on and setting up the top of the order, which is all plus 400 in the 9-hole hitter, and then the top 4, excuse me. Sky pop, Sid calls for it, and she'll make the basket catch coming out of the circle, and again, Watts fields her position for another out.
I don't know why you're swinging at that pitch, and maybe that's why you're hitting below 300.
Abby Lugers up to bat.
I mean, that was just, you're up 3-1, inside corner. Once again, might have been a strike, but I want more hitters to realize out there, not every strike is one you have to swing at when you're not having 2 strikes on your count.
I mean, obviously, as the first pitch here to Lugers, called strike on the inside corner. Obviously, Sid, we know, supreme talent, one of, if not the best pitcher in the state of Ohio. But do you think teams kind of come out of themselves as softball players when they play her? Maybe do some things that they don't normally do tendency-wise.
Absolutely.
And they kind of help beat themselves when they go up against someone of her caliber.
And there are also teams and lineups, I've seen it, they just paralyze themselves before it even starts. The name gets them out of their mindset, out of their comfort zone, and they're done before it starts. They're intimidated because it's Sydney Watts. She's so talked about. She's probably one of the best pitchers the state of Ohio has ever seen in that kind of conversation. Right there with Taryn Alvello, who went to pitch for Washington in the World Series, and of course Aaron Gabriel, our very own, that went to Poland and pitched to Tennessee, also pitched in a World Series.
1-2 the count on Lugers as Watts tied her up and forced a half-hearted swing on the inside third.
Taryn Alvello went to Bloom Carroll, by the way.
The 1-2 pitch from Sid. Lifted on the infield. It's the first baseman, Toth, that makes the grab, out number 2. And Watts getting a lot of infield pops as well.
Well, both pitchers are, because both batters are, both hit a lineup so far a little bit over anxious and swinging at that high inside pitch, getting jammed and popping it up in the infield.
Adeline Huey, 443 batter, home run, 22 runs batted in as the 9-hole hitter, looking to turn it over to the top. We saw a lineup in Kenton Ridge have a similar strategy and going against Melina Toth.
I like it. I like it. You know, your 9-hole hitter, if you're used properly, can be your secondary leadoff hitter as the game goes on, and we'll see it right here. I mean, if she gets on base, you have a leadoff, you have a runner for the top of your order, it would work out really smooth, really swimmingly.
Jillian Huey in the on-deck circle. That is the top of the order. Slow roller to third. Morgan Roby jumps on it, makes a perfect throw to first across the diamond for out number 3. Toth staying on.
That didn't look pretty, but it worked for Morgan Roby. Are they calling something?
No, I believe they're saying.
Oh, are they saying that Abby Toth went into the baseline to make that catch?
I believe they might have been saying that,
He's holding his arm up for obstruction.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't see that. I saw the arm go up, and I thought that was the out call, but
if that was the case, she'd be at first base safely. They're putting her back in the box.
Well, it has to be foul.
It might have been an illegal pitch.
Or I guess, yeah, you could have said that.
It wasn't foul. It went
well, the count is 1-0, so it had to have been, I would think. That.
Yeah, yep, they're going to say illegal pitch. I don't know what she did. I wasn't watching Sid. She doesn't get illegal too often. Trying to watch what she does here on this one. She does.
Swing and a miss.
She doesn't hop, so I don't think it's her back foot dragging.
Coaching staff from Fitch told me last year that I believe it was the Lebanon team had a question about that, and Coach Bobby went over to the umpires and told them to take an extra look at it, and then the umpires agreed that she doesn't do that hop. It looks like she is because of how fast her delivery comes at you.
And when she gets in college, she can do all that she wants because now the NCAA has done away with
they don't
that
care.
rule. It used to be like that for a long time, but now you can leave the drag foot if you want. A lot of pitchers have really benefited from that because they've had to really adjust themselves in college to stop dragging that foot. That's something, though, that always comes up in state games. You have 4 umpires, a lot more eyes to watch if your pitch is illegal.
The 1-2. Sail it above the letters. No chase offered by Adeline Huey. It's the Hueys up the middle, both Adeline and Jillian. It's a senior and a sophomore combination for the middle infield of Fairfield.
Illegal pitches are very rarely called in regular season because you only have 2 umpires. There's just no way to watch for it. So it's hard to all of a sudden have all these eyes on you and to be able to adjust for pitchers that do, tend to have illegal pitches.
You can make adjustments all you want, but you can't really adjust to that rise ball. Up the ladder, the swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4 today by Sydney Watts. 5 today, by Sydney Watts, as she gets out of the top of the 3rd inning. 1, 2, 3. Again, go the Indians. Austintown Fitch still in front. We go to their half of the inning, bottom of the 3rd when we get back.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Welcome to Mill Creek Indoor Player Development Center, where passion meets precision. Experience state-of-the-art technology with 3 TrackMan fitting bays, ensuring your clubs are perfectly tailored to your game. From fun games for the whole family to expert lessons and clinics, there's something for everyone. Our authorized Callaway Club Fitting Center ensures you're equipped with the best. Book online or call our golf shop to reserve your spot today. Mill Creek Indoor Player Development Center. Elevate your game, rain or shine.
Bottom of the 3rd, and it's the 8, 9, and then top of the order for the Falcons as Lily Stevens, Rachel Spalding, Kayleana Ray do up for Fitch. Lily Stevens has had a hot stroke in her bat, 326 hitter as a designated player, 4 RBI on the season. They've kind of flip-flopped and rotated a bunch of girls out of that designated player spot, but Lily has been finding a home, and she goes right up the middle with a single.
What did I say? Top half of the softball, get ground balls through the infield. That's what you're going to be able to do really well. And right on cue, a base hit on the ground through the middle of the infield.
And this is what Coach Ward will tell you so much, is that he feels so much more comfortable with this team when that bottom of the order is being somewhat productive.
Oh, he's putting in a pinch runner, I mean.
And that looks to be Miana Jorge taking over the flex player, running for the designated player.
Jorge! Come on, George. All right, my funniness is over. Back to business.
Jorge is at first. Off the Lily Stevens single, Rachel Spalding, solid bunter, usually try to utilize her spot to try to move runners over and get that top of the order back up.
You need that now with a runner on first, nobody out. You want to get her into scoring position for Kayleana batting next. So you would definitely expect the bunt. The infield not playing as in as I thought they'd be.
She showed it, pulled it back. Ball was way outside of 1-0.
They got third at like halfway down the line, pretty in, but first base over there playing almost even with the base. So if Spalding hits this bunt down the first base line, she'll have a good chance.
1-0. Pulled the bat head back and again takes the ball, 2-0.
I like that. They're not forcing the issue, saying, hey, you know what? I'm wanting bunt, but if you're going to walk me,
We'll take
I'll
no
take
outs and a runner in scoring position. Absolutely.
A lot of girls, when you say bunt, they feel like they have to get it down. They'll go after some bad pitches, and that's when pop-ups for the bunt come.
Try to put it down. It goes to first base. Out there, as it stays just in front of the plate. Stayed fair as Rachel Spalding does her job, turns it over to the top, and runners in scoring position now.
Perfect sacrifice bunt. You do your job, you get that runner over, and now statistically your most productive hitter when it comes to batting average up at the plate.
Reached on an error her last time up, but 700 hitter.
It's a tough error, but it's an error nonetheless.
Now she bats with a runner in second. She had a big RBI hit against Amherst Steel that ended up being the game-winning run off that RBI. Ball one. Jorge teasing off that second base bag, making the throw to third was Clark.
It's dangerous game to play there.
Falcons already have one base running mistake with Toth overrunning the third base bag. You don't want to leave outs on the base paths, or have outs generated on the base paths, rather. The 1-0 showed bunt, did Kaliana. She pulled it back in time. Kind of just flashed it real quick before taking for a ball, 2-0.
Kaliana's the kind of player that can flash the bunt, pull back, and then just drive it to the gap. So versatile as a hitter, just like her sister.
Holds it back, 3-0. So quick, too, at the top of the order as Kaliana Ray. Guess she could be softball versions of Cheetah, but I know you're not a fan of Cheetah so much anymore since he ain't wearing the red.
Three and the softball version of a Lamborghini.
We just call her K Quick here on the network. 4-pitch walk for Kaliana Ray, 2-on with 1 out here in the bottom of the third for Austintown Fitch. Ray gets on base for her older sister, one of the 2 seniors on this squad, Ayla Ray. Fielder's choice to the pitcher Spencer last time up. But she can, in one swing, make this a 4-run ball game.
This is a big spot for both teams. Fairfield has to try to limit the damage. Austintown Fitch, if you score both the runners with Sydney Watts pitching, you feel really good. And then if Ray hits a home run, you feel even better.
First pitch to the ace of bases. She'll take for a ball, 1-0. Gave her that nickname back in her sophomore year when she batted almost, I think, right under 600. Similar to how Kaliana started out, too, with a high average hitter. But like you said, Ann, her home run production went up, her RBI production went up. That's a slow roller to first. Both runners to advance, but there's 2 down now in the inning as stepping on the first base bag that time was Miller.
That time it looked like Ray was out in front, well out in front of that off-speed pitch. And that's what Spence is really good at when you scout her. Weak contact, spotting the pitches.
Abby Toth had the RBI triple last time up, got thrown out at third, though.
Without a doubt, the hardest hit of the game. It was a mistake pitch. It was left in the middle of the plate, and she took it to right center field.
First pitch finds the zone on Toth. Toth 1 for 1 today. We mentioned her 600-plus average.
I don't know who's calling pitches for Fairfield, but I really like that. She went to the right gap last time, so first pitch, go right inside on her, catch that inside corner, and so you're not going to go opposite field on us. You're going to have to pull this ball. Back out.
Tried to tease and get a chase, 1-1.
Austintown Fitch team doesn't chase too much.
They really don't, and when we mentioned those little things where it makes beating this Fitch team so hard because they really don't beat themselves often, so you really do have to get them that many innings. Grounded to third, got to make the throw across the diamond and able to do so. Stanfield to Miller for out number 3. Falcons get 2 in scoring position but can't bring them home. We're through 3 innings here at Firestone Stadium in the state semifinal. Falcons leading the Indians 1-0. Top of the 4th we go when we get back.
We know when it comes to insurance, you have so many choices. But if you're looking for someone who lives in your community, someone who cheers for your community, and someone who works for your community like you're part of our family, well then please let us introduce ourselves. Hi, we're Heiner Insurance. How can we help?
you can see these players, get to know these names, get to know these coaches at a more personal level than truly you ever did before. And I think YSN has been a big influential factor in bringing us that level of personal connection that we haven't seen any other company truly be able to do. If my legacy goes down as being the voice of the Austintown Fitch Falcons, I can hang my hat on that and be proud of it at the end of the day. My name is Ty Bartell, and my sports network is your sports network. Top of the fourth inning, Ty Bartell, Anthony Hartwig, your sports network with this Division I state semifinal matchup between the Fairfield Indians and the Austintown Fitch Falcons. 3 innings in the books already, a 1-run game, another pitcher's duel, and we've had a few of those we've seen at Firestone today. What are you seeing working really well for Sydney Watts going through that order the first time?
I don't want to oversimplify it, but Sydney Watts' rise ball really working, getting a lot of chases. For Spence on the other end, she's hitting her spots really well, and Fitch doesn't chase out of the zone, but today so far, they're chasing some pitchers' pitches in the strike zone that you shouldn't swing at unless you have 2 strikes on you.
Top of the fourth inning, top of the order. Jillian Huey, Ava Hensley, and Abby Stanfield all due up.
Leading off for Fairfield, top of the fourth inning. Shortstop number 3, Jillian Huey.
First pitch to Huey, foul it back to the netting, 0-1. Huey struck out swinging in her lone at-bat against Watts today.
Jillian Huey is going to be a Division I softball player, continuing her career at Rio Grande.
De Janeiro? Or?
No, not Rio de Janeiro.
No. Hotbed for talented softball players, not just the Northeast Ohio area, Ohio as a state in general, as another D1 college level talent here from the state of Ohio going to the next level. One and one the count on Jillian Huey, the leadoff batter for the Indians. 1-zip Fitch here in the top of the fourth inning. Foul it back to the netting again, 1-2. Falcons have been battle-tested getting to this point. That regional championship game against the Walsh Jesuit Warriors, that was a battle of the number 9 versus the number 10 team in the entire nation, as Minnesota Gopher, future Minnesota Gopher, and Natalie Sousa pitched for the Warriors in that one. And what a game with all the build to it. Falcons were able to come out victorious to get themselves to this point. 2-2, wouldn't offer on the chase pitch. Huey has the count back to even. Fairfield at the 23-3 record out of that Greater Miami Conference, down near Miami of Ohio in the southwest quadrant of the state.
Rio Grande is an Ohio college in Rio Grande, Ohio.
The 2-2.
So a little bit far from Rio de Janeiro.
Foul it off of home plate umpire Paul Meltzer's face mask. He says he's all good. Keep the count 2-2. Nice at bat by Jillian Huey. Getting some foul balls and seeing some pitches here from Watts. Watts calling her pitch from the circle, something she started doing this year and has found a lot of success calling her own pitches. The 2-2, swing and a miss. Got another one. Number 6 on the day for Sid. Second time she's gotten Huey swinging, and there's one away here in the fourth.
Center fielder number 8, Ava Hensley.
Ava Hensley up to bat. Hensley lined out to shortstop. Ayla Ray, her first time up. 0-for-1 officially. Team leader in batting average, though, this season. Batting over .465 coming into today's contest. First pitch strike on the outside corner, and when Sid is painting the outside, the inside corners, it's usually a long day for opposing offenses.
When she gets out her paintbrush,
Pitching, we always say it is an art form, and the artist at work right now, Sydney Watts, is putting together another masterful performance from that circle. 0-2, the count moves to Ava Hensley. We set it against with Canfield and Kenton Ridge when you wait till the 4th inning to get the second time through your order. It makes things a lot more difficult when you wait that long to get your second look. Chopper to third. Roby leaves her feet to make the play. Throw on a dime to first for out number 2.
That's insane.
Morgan Roby makes it look oh so easy at that hot corner.
When you don't get a lot of balls hit to you because there's almost nobody that's out in front of Sydney Watts, that's just to be ready to make that play.
One thing Coach Ward praises this team for so much so is they never back down from challenges. And the one thing that he's constantly surprised about is any challenge he gives them, they are able to meet it and then pass it with flying colors. As a first pitch strike delivered by Watts to Abby Stanfield, 0-1. The count, she's 0 for 1 today with a strikeout swinging. But when you got a team like that that doesn't get discouraged when they make mistakes, but only finds it as a fuel source to get stronger. It's the rumblings, it's the beginnings of something that you feel at least really special happening over there in Austintown Fitch, and not just the way the team's playing, but almost a culture shift, it feels like, and something that can last for not just this year, not just next year, but for potential generations to come for Fitch softball now.
Yeah, people watch this Fitch softball team, and it feels like they've been good forever, but they forget, like, Steve Ward as a coach sat through some really not good years. Like,
he built this to where it is right now.
It's not like Fitch has been good for 10, 12 years in a row, and this is just the continuation of a dynasty. This is a start of what they hope will be a dynasty. The way these players conduct themselves to the youth of the program is what I think is the hallmark of what's going to be the building blocks to the next generation.
You need them connecting to the youth, and then you need the community connecting to them. And this year especially, we saw it last year, but this year the community, and you see the crowd that's here today, is just so invested in this softball team and their success. Called strike, 2-2. You got to remember, this is the first team, other than bowling, the first of the major sports teams that won a championship at Fitch in, I think it was 70 years, Ant. Like, we're talking a huge drought for this.
I would wager that no one, even the bowling, had never gone back to back.
And exactly. And you talk about what this Fitch softball team has the capability of doing, and it's something that Austintown community has been clamoring for years, is just a team to get behind, and Sydney Watts is just the arm to do it. A swing and a miss, strike 3, 2 more to her total. She has now fanned 7 in today's game.
She saw Melina Toth and said, you know what, I'll take you and I'll one-up you a little bit.
We go to the bottom of the 4th. Falcons still leading it slim, 1-0.
Hi, I'm Eric Carlson, president of Joe Dickey Electric and an Eagle Scout from Troop 60 in Boardman. I'd like to invite you to join us Tuesday, June 11th at the Lake Club for our 19th annual Celebration of Scouting Breakfast. Join us to hear the scouting story and to support the organization that helped me become the leader I am today. Visit gtcbsa.org/breakfast or call 234-900-5906 to reserve your spot today at the 19th annual Celebration of Scouting Breakfast.
Tiger's got 152 yards. Should be just a nice, comfortable 9-iron for him. They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing.
Bottom of the 4th inning, leading off for the Falcons. It's cleanup batter Kylie Folkwine. Popped up to second base her first time up. Ball 1. Folkwine hit that 2-run home run against Natalie Sousa in that monstrous 5th inning for the Falcons that proved to be the difference maker. Capped off a Well, didn't cap off, but started. Sydney Watts capped off the 5-run fifth, but Kylie Folkwine's 2-run jack made it a 7-run lead for Austintown, and you really felt like things were out of grasp for Walsh Jesuit after that point.
I don't think they were scoring 7 runs.
2-0 the count on Folkwine as she's working ahead. Kind of just tried to slow that swing up, but she does make contact, foul, third base side.
That was one of those ones I didn't want to swing, and the ball just caught the bat.
She didn't catch herself early enough to stop the swing. It went around just enough into the zone. But Folkwine's one of those batters, though, too, that, and I mean, all these Falcons hitters are, but she does it supremely well where she doesn't carry what happened in the last at-bat into her next one. She's a very much so, I'm going to attack every at-bat like it's my last. If it doesn't work out, oh well. If it does, great. But I'm going to keep that same approach, and that same approach has been a lot of success for Folkwine, batting just a shade under 500.
That's another example, though, that check swing, just these hitters so far today just seem a little bit...
3-1 now to count.
A little bit anxious or ahead of themselves, going after pitches they don't usually go after.
Folkwine looking to get a leadoff runner aboard. The 3-1 pitch to her. Hits that one out to left field. It'll drop into left for a single. Over the shortstop's head. Perfectly placed leadoff hit for the Falcons, Folkwine.
Now that's a pitch you want to go after. A 3-1 mistake. They grooved a fastball down the heart of the plate. Trying to get a strike in on a 3-1 count.
Sydney Watts, not just a great pitcher, .492 hitter, 11 home runs, 44 runs batted in as a batter this year.
She went through a little bit of a midseason slump, and then towards the end of the season, now in tournaments, has really turned it right back on to what we're used to seeing from Sydney Watts.
Batting just under 500, double-digit home runs, 40 runs batted in, like we said, just incredible numbers. I like to call her the Ohtani of softball because it just feels like no limit to how amazing she can be. You look at her pitching numbers and think how much time and energy and focus she puts into that, and then realize how much more she has to put in to her bat work to get it to the level it's at the D1 level and find the success.
You think, okay, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, but then you look at Gabby Gradishar.
Yeah.
Who has 23 home runs in the year.
That's where we talk with, or we point back to DJ Yoakley's article, too, and it's really, we're living in the good times right now, folks, and you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you're not getting out here to support these teams, especially tomorrow, knowing we got 2 teams booked, a third team trying to book their ticket to a state championship game. The 3-0. Watts takes for a called strike. Might have went around too far, but I think it was a called one anyway. Nice called. Location.
Yeah, that's a good spot. One you don't want to swing at. Watts almost did. You're ahead in the count. You don't have to go after a low outside pitch, even if it's in the zone.
3-1 to Watts. Folkwine at first. She'll chop it third base side foul. 3-2.
It's another pitch you don't necessarily have to swing at when you're ahead in the count. You're just seeing a lot of that in the hitters. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is one of the adjustments that's holding Fitch back from breaking this game open right now.
Folkwine at first with a 3-2 count. She's got above average speed. You sending her in this situation?
3-2. Yeah, because I count on Sid to make contact. She's not a swing and miss person. Kylie's a very aggressive runner, and she might just decide to go on her own, and Coach Ward would trust her to do so.
The payoff called, strike 3. Watts tried to scoot out of the way, but the call froze her. Folkwine does take second on the steal, delayed steal on it, but out number 1.
That's a mistake on Fairview's defense. No one covered second, so Folkwine, even though she hesitated after the called strike, she was still able to get in there. There was no throw to be had. Defense late getting over, catcher couldn't throw, and because of that, Folkwine gets in the second after hesitating midway through.
Morgan Roby takes a first pitch strike.
If the defense executed that could have been a disastrous double play.
Morgan Roby, 0 for 1 today, popped up in foul ground to the third baseman her last time up. Was back in the second inning. A string of 3 pop-ups to
Roby,
third. Hit out to left field, over the left fielder's head. Lugers all the way to the fence. 1 run to score in Folkline. Roby cruises into second with an RBI double. Fitch doubles their lead. It's 2 runs to 0.
First pitch swinging. It's inside half of the plate. Roby just doesn't do too much with it. Just goes right with the pitch, pulls it into left field.
Roby delivers for the Falcons.
Number 7, Samantha Severn.
Samantha Severn has had the clutch gene working for her in the playoffs. That was double number 10 on the season for Roby as a first pitch strike delivered to Severn. Severn, though, is one of those batters, like we said, you called her one of the perfect bridge players, but it's her approach, that short swing, that contact swing, so tough to get out, and almost all of her outs is forced because you have to make her make contact. You don't really strike her out a whole ton.
Especially last year, the way that lineup was built, she was in the 6th spot for most of the year. 7, 8, 9 were good hitters that could set the table. So she kind of played that role where she's like, okay, I'm going to get from the top half of the order that this hit runs in, set the table for the bottom half of the order. Last year actually had some pop 7, 8, 9 in that Fitch order.
Severn showed bunt, pulled it back. 2-1 the count on Samantha as Roby sits at second base. 2-run lead for the Falcons here in the bottom of the 4th. The 2-1. Screamer foul, third base line, 2-2.
Watch out, Coach Warren.
Severn popped up to third baseman Stanfield last time. That was back in the 2nd inning where 3 consecutive Falcons all popped up to the third baseman Stanfield. Very heavily featured back in that 2nd inning. The 2-2 pitch. Just threw the bat head at it, got it past the pitcher to second base, and from second to first, the toss made from Huey to Miller, out number 2. Runner goes to third, and Roby, they're 60 feet away, so pitcher and catcher got to be heads up, no mistakes, or else another run could come home.
That was a heads-up play by Huey because she could have easily just assumed that her pitcher was going to get there, but she charged it anyway. Once it got past the pitcher, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be an infield base hit, but because Huey charged the ball, what you always should do as an infielder, she was able to get there in time and make the play.
Lily Stevens, 1 for 1 with a single her first time up.
I'll take it.
And you talk about that, too. We talked a little off air. What we feel is one of the keys for this Falcons team, if the 8 and 9 hole hitters are at least one at bat finding some success, a walk, a hit, just getting on base, just having them show some production, and then you have a 1 through 9 order that's going to at least get on base once. It's how do you game plan to try to beat something like that then?
Well, you pray a lot. You try to get in talks with a local shaman. Maybe some voodoo.
Yeah, 1-1 now to Stevens. Lily Stevens, designated player, sophomore.
Point is, it's not fun. I had to coach against Kylie Folkline in travel ball this summer. Just one of these hitters was a headache.
The 1-1.
Our pitching coach was like,
2-1
hey, where do you
outside.
think we should attack Kylie? I was like, I don't know. Try everything. Throw everything.
Hope. Just hope.
Just hope. The better the hitter, the better the pitcher has to be to attack because the holes in the swing get really small, and you have to be able to pinpoint stuff to attack the swings. Every hitter in the planet has holes in their swing. The differences are how big are the holes and how much are you able to be attacked by pitchers on finding the holes in your swing.
The 3-1 to Stevens. She'll hit that one left field over the glove of the diving Huey. Another hit for Lily Stevens. She's got an RBI, 3-run lead for Austintown.
That was barely over the outstretched diving attempt from Huey. A great attempt by her. And it just finds the right spot.
Unlikely sources become the biggest bats come playoff time, and Lily Stevens a 2-for-2 day and a run batted in. Falcons lead it by 3, and this is where Austintown Fitch feels like they are grooving the best with at least a 3-run advantage.
Now the mountain is 3 runs, which normally isn't a lot, but when you're Fairfield, this just felt like Mount Everest because you have to get 3 runs against the best pitcher in the state.
And we talked about pitchers in Kyan Tyson, Milena Toth as in that earlier state semifinal for Division II, the difficulty of trying to stack hits. I've seen a lot of Sydney Watts games. I can't remember how many times you've seen 3-4 hits stacked. And actually, Walsh Jesuit did it, I believe, back in that regional final game. But they were too far gone, 8-run lead. They were able to score 2 in the 7th, stacked some base runners. But by that point, Sid was pitching free and easy and maybe leaving some more things over the plate than you're normally seeing. But it's so very hard to stack hits on Sid. So you're absolutely right, Ant. That task has seemingly become a pretty tall one for Fairfield now.
Now, not undoable. 3 is still like, okay, if things break our way, we're still, you have to keep it at 3, 4. You know,
but now,
if it's 5, it's
that's the case. If you're not getting runs on the offensive side, then you got to be putting the stoppers up on the defensive side. You can't be letting the Falcons continue to chip away here.
And kind of like Tyson from Kitten Ridge, this isn't really a poorly pitched game right now from Spence. I mean, that ball,
just over a diving hit.
It's a shallow pop-up that's caught anywhere else. It's just put in the right spot. What can you do? You made a good pitch. You have these Fitch hitters under a lot of your stuff, a lot of infield pop-ups. One hard hit ball really so far, the triple from Abby Toth to the right center gap.
And now a 3-0 count to Rachel Spalding with Kayleana Ray looming. This is not the ideal batter you want to walk here in the Falcon order.
See, I hope someone's telling Spence, like, hey, you are fine, you're pitching well. You try to get too outside yourself, you're going to start walking people.
Called strike. Spalding was taking all the way on that 3-0 pitch.
Because she works the corner so well, you don't want to attack a bad strike when you're ahead in the count. I've been saying that all day for these Fitch hitters. They've struggled with that first and second time through the lineup.
The 3-1 now to Spalding. Spalding goes swinging, fouling it off. Third base side, run the count full as Stevens sits at first with 2 down here in the 4th.
There's another, that might have been ball 4.
Very well could be. It's on the black right there. Bottom of the 4th, 3-run lead for Austintown Fitch. 3-2 the count on Rachel Spalding, and she'll work the walk with the full count pitch.
That's exactly what you want out of the 9-hole. A great at bat.
And Rachel Spalding out of that 9-hole, a sacrifice bunt and a walk. That's what we're talking about, production at every spot in the order when you're getting it. Boy, oh boy, does it feel like that mountain has just become the size of Everest that you want to climb.
You have to pitch to Kayleana Ray for the 3rd time today with 2 on.
Reached on an error and walked today. She takes the first pitch ball. Aside from the fact that Kayleana Ray bats .743, the eye that she has and the ability to work walks, it takes her to that other level where how do you try, as a coach too, and how do you try to attack a Kayleana Ray? Where do you try to find holes in that swing?
More hope. No, like what I'm doing with Kayleana Ray, if I'm pitching to her, one, I'm trying to stay high and tight. Any hitter you go over the hands, you're going to have some sort of success. High and tight. Make her move in the batter's box. Maybe make her try to adjust to you and then go to the other side of the plate. But you have to be so accurate with your pitches to do that, because if you go high and tight and you miss, you're going to hit her. It's a dangerous game, and you have to be very accurate to be able to try to pitch to Kayleana Ray.
Ray has worked a 3-0 count now.
But because she doesn't have necessarily the big pop that her sister does, I wouldn't be as afraid to go inside.
A 3-0 to Kayleana. She shows bunt on the 3-0 pitch and takes it for a strike, 3-1.
That's inside right there. That's where you want to go.
Pretty surprising to see the bunt even shown for a 3-0 count. But Ray trying to catch him off guard. She is very good at
bring that infield
bunting.
in and then hit it right over their heads. It's a mind game.
Both infielders pretty even with the bags, not pinching after showing that, but Ray will work the walk, her second of the day. And now the ace of bases bats with the bases loaded. And in one swing of the bat, Anthony, we can be talking about a whole different ball game here.
One swing of the bat, we could be getting close to run rule territory.
Ayla Ray, 0 for 2 today. She grounded into a fielder's choice, back to the pitcher Spence back in the first inning, and then in the third she grounded out to the first baseman Miller unassisted.
But what I like about her swing so far today, she's been one of the only hitters to get on top of the ball, not under it. Like we've seen a lot of hitters get under the ball and pop up to the infield. So
I've caught a lot of Ayla Ray games too, and you'll see her start out 0 for 1, 0 for 2, but I can't recall how many 0 for games that Ray has in her entire career. Not too.
Or even if it's not 0 for, like I've never seen her go a game without a productive at bat.
Yeah, she doesn't cause for some sort of production, and she can work a walk here as well. Very hard to strike out, so she's the type that puts it in play. First pitch, a ball.
That's exactly where high and in.
Falcons in that game against Walsh Jesuit didn't work a bases loaded walk. Morgan Roby did for a run batted in, and that's been a theme that Falcons, they're not looking for the big hit. They're just looking to get the next run. It's what they're doing, and however they can do that. 1-1 the count.
No, Ayla. I think that was a pitch that was right down the middle, Ty.
Yeah, it looked.
I think
it caught plenty of the plate. I was just curious where it was belt to letters-wise, height-wise on
I honestly
Ray.
think it just froze her, which is unfortunate, but.
The 1-1. Foul it back, 1-2.
High and tight again. I like that spot. I didn't like the last spot, but that spot is where you want to go. Now with 2 strikes, though, Ayla Ray turns into a different hitter. She adjusts her swing so well. Probably won't see her go for the fence hit anymore, but she would be happy to loop a single into the outfield.
Bottom of the 4th, nowhere to put her. Stevens at third base, over at second. As that one's hit out to right center field. Plenty of pop. It's up against the wall, just shy of a home run, but 3 runs to score. No, it gets stuck underneath the fence.
He's calling a home run.
They're calling a home run. Oh, geez, you're right, it is. It's
a home run. It got stuck in the fence up top of it. It's gone. It's a grand slam.
Ray staying on second.
Wait, what? Oh, did someone
Someone had the 2 up. I saw the first base umpire was holding the 2 up for ground rule double, so that is the case. It bounced over the fence into outside. But 2 runs do score. It's a 5-run Fitch lead. 2 RBI double for
Now they're
Ayla
going to
Ray.
talk about it more, though, because one umpire was signaling home run.
So they're going to converge. 4 umpiring crew. Someone's got a good look. Someone has to have the best look on it.
I don't think it bounced off the ground and over. It definitely hit the fence on the fly, from what I saw. Now, my vision is terrible. Granted.
As it stands on the field right now, it's a 5, and I put the 2 up. It is a ground rule automatic double.
I saw him put his hand up. I thought, roll that hand around. Let's go.
But
well, either way.
And 2 runs batted in, and there's the 5 that the Falcons were looking for.
I mean, you hate to say it this early. You know, a lot of softball to play. Anything can happen, but Mount Everest just turned into flying to the moon.
Yeah, you need to get your best Armstrong impression. Ball 1. Ayla Ray came just shy of sending a grand slam out of here. She'll take the ground rule double. I'm going to have to tease her a little bit.
Did it get stuck in the fence?
I think so. I think it got stuck and kind of rolled underneath the fence, or it got jammed into the fence line, so they call it the double.
And then you wonder what the umpire saw to make him think it was a home run.
Point is, if that's not a double, at least 3 runs scored, because Kayleana was already standing at home plate.
Maybe there's a hole out there and it went through the fence.
Very well.
You never know.
The 2-0 low in the turf. 3 balls, no strikes on Toth with first base open and Kylie Folkwine in the on-deck circle. The Falcons.
For a long time, they had the breakaway fence out there in the outfield here at Firestone. That would have cleared that easily.
Falcons with a big 4-run inning here in the 4th. Hit out to right field, dropping in a hurry, and off of the right fielder's glove, Lawson. That'll go as an error, and 2 more will score for Austintown, make it a 7-run Fitch lead.
Now you just went from the moon, now you're trying to get to Mars.
Just keep moving the sticks.
3rd and forever.
Mark that as an error on the right fielder. 2 runs will score. Right fielder, unfortunately, had it in Lawson, but hit that heel of the glove, came up short, and we talked about it, Ant. 32 errors, and you're hoping it's not going to bite. That drops in a base hit. Toth going to third. She'll slide in safely. Folkwine goes from first to second. A little bloop shot single turns into 2 in scoring position for the Falcons as Folkwine ends up with her second hit of the day.
Well, now Sydney Watts represents the run rule run, where they would
you get these runs in. Yeah, you need 3 more outs. You're absolutely right, Ann. And for this Falcons team, geez,
I know you don't care about pitch count nearly as much in softball, but anytime you can save your arm 2 innings of work,
especially not having the day off tomorrow, you have to go back to back.
So Fitch is not going to lay off the gas pedal any bit. They want this run rule really bad.
The first pitch to Watts. Inside, ball 1. Watts today is 0 for 2. Popped up to the third baseman in the second. Struck out looking back in this 4th inning. She was the first out, of this inning.
And that was the inning that was the start of the.
That's blasted! Mamma mia! Sydney Watts sends it out of here. 3-run shot, 10-run lead. Falcons in run rule territory now.
The buzz is booming.
If this stadium had a roof, it would have shot itself off of it all the way to the moon.
Well, now you're going from Mars. Got to get all the way to Pluto now. All you have to do is score 10 runs against.
The Otani of softball strikes again with a 3-run blast here in the bottom of the 4th.
Struck out looking on the inside corner of her last at bat, and she said, okay, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, no way. And she came inside, not a bad pitch, it was on the corner, but Sid turned on that and just rocketed it to left field.
12 home runs on the season, 47 runs batted in on the season for Sydney Watts as continuing to impress on both sides of the ball, Anthony.
And like we talked about, that just means that, okay, now we can take care of business the next half inning and save Sydney Watts 2 innings of work.
9-run bottom of the 4th inning. And
now there's a big conversation happening between the umpires and the coach from Fairfield. Fairfield wants to talk to them too. Now, see, the only thing I can think of is, did Sydney Watts touch all the bases on her way around?
But now, correct me if I'm wrong, that would only erase 1 run off of it if she didn't touch all of them. The other 2 would still score so long as everyone touches the plate.
But it would also take Fairfield off of the run rule.
But now it feels like you're just clutching straws at this point. But I mean, anything you can do at this point. But Ward goes to the third base umpire too, just wanting clarification on what the meeting was about. But you're right now, Ant, with the Falcons putting up a 9-run 4th inning.
This game went from 1-0 to 10-0 in a hurry.
Started with a Lily Stevens RBI single, too, that kept the inning alive. When the 8-hole, you get the RBI single from Stevens, and then the walk from Spalding, the 8 and the 9-hole hitters get on. You get the next 5 hitters in order, and now you have 9 runs put up on the board in this inning. And that's what we were talking about, and when you get that bottom of the order having some production, it really becomes a murder's row type lineup that you have to face 1 through 9.
Right, it's not fair.
1-1 the count. Roby on the day popped up to third in the second, hit an RBI double in this 4th inning. 2-1 the count. And a long 4th inning this has been for Fitch. Second at bat in the inning for Roby. That's roped into left field. Fair ball down the line. Roby gonna get her second double of the inning. her 11th double of the season. Roll and replace. The Falcons still swinging the hot bat. Now Sammy Severn popped up to third in the second, grounded out to the second baseman back here in the fourth. She was the second out of the inning. Severn doesn't want to be responsible for 2 outs in the same inning. As she's trying to stay alive here. First pitch strike delivered by Spence. The 0-1. Outside it goes, 1-1. I think everybody that may not be super familiar with this Falcons team may not understand the extent or the length of just how talented this team is. But Anton, you and I have talked constantly. Your 1 through 6 hitters are all D1 softball players. Your 7-hole hitter is a D2 to D1 softball player. And then you got a couple other girls that, with some seasoning here, they might have potential of being D2, D1, D3 softball players as well at the college level.
As close as you can get for a high school team of being a premier travel team,
3-1 the count now on Severn.
And then you take everything that's good about that, and then you also put everything that's good about being a high school team, the team mindset, the camaraderie, the community that you don't get in travel ball. It's a perfect blend.
The 3-1. And the Falcons continue this inning. Sammy Severn works the walk, says, I will not get 2 outs in 1 inning. And give it up to Lily Stevens. Lily Stevens, 2 for 2 with an RBI today. But she's the one that started this spurt with 2 outs. The Falcons have scored all 9 runs in this inning with 2 outs, too. There's been 2 outs this entire time. Severn was the second out in the inning. 9 straight runs scored off of, if I am counting correctly, there was 5 2-out base hits, 3 2-out walks worked by the Falcons, and an error sprinkled in there by the defense on Fairfield. All that makes up a 9-run inning.
Now we're going to see a pitching change for the Indians.
Indians are going to bring out a new arm. We'll take a quick break. Back with that pitching change when we get back here in the bottom of the 4th.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
We insure your car because some people never learn to park. That's simple human sense.
Ask Holloway Insurance in Columbiana and Lisbon if auto owners make sense for you.
Bottom of the 4th inning, new pitcher is for the senior Jillian Huey. Huey in 11 games this year is 9-0 this season, 1.43 ERA. She struck out 29 batters in 49 innings of work with a 1.12 whip. She also has a save on the season. In this case, obviously, Fairfield has a huge, tall task ahead of them, but you want to get your senior some innings there, knowing that this is the last time likely they're going to be donning that uniform. You want to give your senior a last chance to step in the circle.
Yeah, and Huey is a college softball player. She'll be continuing her career at Rio Grande, so she knows that this isn't going to be the last softball game that she plays ever.
But still, for those seniors, it's still an emotional moment with your high school.
Is.
It's the first, real significant team that you have to say goodbye to.
And for a lot of these players that you've been playing with for 12-plus years.
Exactly.
Dating all the way back to rec ball.
2-0 the count on Lily Stevens. Lily Stevens has been an unsung hero in this game with her 2
Not
for 2
unsung from us.
No, not from us, but
no.
2 for 2 in her performance, and she really got this 9-run started for the Falcons, and she's just looking to add to her day today. 2-1. When you're getting 2 for 2 from your 8-hole hitter and an RBI, it's the mark of a team up and down the order.
And the Fitch adjustments this inning. First couple innings, they were, like I said, they were under everything. They were popping things up into the infield. They've made a lot of really good adjustments. They're not chasing good pitches. even if they're in the strike zone when they're ahead in the count.
Count is 3-1 on Lily Stevens. First and second occupied. Falcons massively in front, 10 runs to 0. Chopper foul behind the plate.
That was not a bad 3-1 pitch to swing at. He just missed it. But that was cutting the home plate in half, a little bit low. But Lily Stevens likes the ball low. He's got a swing that arcs down a little bit. So that's not a bad pitch.
The payoff to Stevens. She swings and misses as it drops off the table. And coming out to get the strikeout was Huey. That's the second Falcon strikeout today.
There's Huey. Where's Dewey and Louie?
We're through
Sorry,
4.
I could not do that.
I knew you were
going to do it.
I couldn't do it. We're going to the top of the 5th. Falcons all of a sudden need just 3 outs to book their ticket to the state championship game.
Going the extra mile means doing more for the people who matter most to you. It's how you take care of your family and how you care for yourself. How hard you work on the job and how hard you play with others. How you help the person next to you and the people who need you. At Greenwood Chevrolet, we know going the extra mile is about more than what we do at our dealership. It's what you do after you leave.
What does it mean to be approved? I'm Tracy, and to me it means getting you to work on time, driving your kids to school, or going out and seeing the world. That's why I go the extra mile for my customers, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Top of the 5th inning, but it's the middle of the order. Maddie Miller, Carly Clark, and Leanna Lawson, 4-5-6-2 up for Fairfield. But with the 10-run lead and the 9-run bottom of the 4th inning by the Austintown Fitch Falcons, it now all of a sudden has potentially shrunk this game for Fairfield, taking their original 9 outs that they had to work with a 1-run game and turned that into a 10-run deficit and only 3 outs to try to make something happen, as the task, you mentioned it all in the last half inning, and just continued to get taller and taller for Fairfield.
We're going to Pluto is what we're at.
Do your best Elton John impression, because you all need to be Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
3 outs away are the Falcons from a repeat trip to the state championship game. 3 outs away are the Falcons from being the 3rd YSN team competing for a state championship game tomorrow. Watts has struck out 7 to this point. A swinging strike to Miller, 0-1. 7 strikeouts through 4 innings of work. Defense has been there to help her out. That 0-1 pitch. Foul it to the netting behind the dish, 0-2 now on Miller. Maddie Miller struck out swinging back in the 2nd inning, 0-1 today. Watts settles in. Feeds the call. 2 Folk 1, now the 0-2. Swing and a miss up the ladder, got the chase. Strikeout number 8 on the day for Sid. 1 down in the inning. Falcons 2 outs away from a repeat trip to the state championship. Carly Clark up to bat, 0-1. She struck out swinging back in the 2nd. Watts fanning 8 through 4 1/3. First pitch swinging, fouling it back, 0-1.
I like the aggressiveness. No fear. Just got to go up and say, you know what? Got to have my hacks at this point. You're not going to come back with walks and bunts, so you might as well swing away.
0-1 the count on Clark. Above the letters, 1-1.
For the Indians, you're watching this game and you're saying, well, it was 1-0 through 3. We were hanging, and then Fitch can get on you in so much of a hurry.
What the Walsh Jesuit Warriors were saying, too. That was a 2-run game for a while, and then all of a sudden a 5-run inning flips it on its head. 1-2 the count. It's this Fitch team that has such a dynamic where you never feel like you're out of the waters against them, no matter where the situation is.
And I'll tell you, the next semifinal is going to be a heck of a matchup between Anthony Wayne and Watkins Memorial.
And those two teams met in the regular season, and it was a doozy.
They also met in last year's semifinals, correct?
Yep, and they're 1-1 against each other in those two games. Watkins won this regular season matchup. Wayne obviously winning last year's game. Swinging strikeout. Carly Clark has the Falcons 1 out away from a repeat to state championship, and also 1 out away from Sydney Watts, doing something pretty special here in the state semifinal.
The right fielder, number 6, Leanna Lawson.
Leanna Lawson grounded out to the pitcher Watts, her only time up. She's 0 for 1 today. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Count 0-1. Falcons have 2 down already in the top of the 5th inning here against the Indians.
Ooh.
Fairfield's last chance.
That's a nasty pitch.
Coming up as Lawson. Count 0-2. Fairfield down to their final strike.
I said before, it's not fair. It's not fair when she can throw in a pitch at the knees for a strike. You're thinking, what am I supposed to do?
9 strikeouts for Watts today. The 0-2. Pop to the net. It's a dead ball off the back netting.
That's tough to stay alive in that situation.
Lawson, a .350 batter, couple home runs and 19 runs batted in on the season, representing the last out and also the last strike the Fairfield Indians are down to.
Never want to be the last out in the game. So tough.
Watts feeds her pitch call to her catcher, Folkwine. Off the rock, the back foot, the step, the fire, the foul. No, it's a hit out to first.
Yeah, it's fair.
And it's fair. Stagging the batter, though. And Sydney Watts makes the tag for out number 3 and completes the 5-inning perfect game here in the state semifinal. Her 6th perfect game in her career as the Falcons have a chance to do the unthinkable and repeat with a state championship game tomorrow against the winner of Anthony Wayne and Watkins Memorial for the premier start time of a 6:30 p.m. first pitch here at Firestone.
My final thoughts on this one, Ty. Mid-game adjustments for the offense. Mid-game adjustments. They were struggling early, getting under a lot of pitches. They made the adjustment, got on the lower half of the ball. We saw it sky from there.
I mean, you look at this lineup 1 through 9, all contributing. Again, everybody putting their hand in the pile, everybody doing their part, and the Falcons emphatically get another win, and they are now sitting 1 away from being two-time, back-to-back defending state champions.
Come back with us tomorrow. It's going to be a busy day on YSN.
Oh, man.
3 teams fighting for a state championship.
D3, D2, D1. Let's go Raiders. Let's go Cardinals. Let's go Falcons. We'll see you tomorrow. Boy, oh boy, though, as we put a close on this one, though, put a bow on it. Falcons, Raiders, Cardinals. You only have one place to listen to it live.
There's one place. That's it.
We've been with these teams all season as 3 of them look to complete their dream, look to complete their story, and it all starts second game of the day tomorrow with the Division III state championship. Your South Range Raiders are in action. We'll have the call for you. I'm Ty Bartell. He's Anthony Hartwig. We're YSNLive.com. We're going to see you for 3 state championship games tomorrow.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.